Wedding, the podcast brought to you by Glow Events. We are your hosts, Jamie and Jas, and we're here to answer all those questions to help you bring your wedding dreams to reality.
Yeah, so today we are in our beautiful dressing room at the Orangery in Maidstone, the Wisteria Suite, where every detail has been designed for relaxation and elegance.
In this episode, Picking the Perfect Venue, we'll guide you through the essential factors to consider and give you some top tips on choosing the perfect venue for your wedding day.
In this episode, we'll also be joined by our lovely Kate, who's an event manager here at the Orangery. Kate is also planning her own wedding, so who best to speak about these topics whilst receiving expert and bride-to-be advice?
Exactly. Should we do it?
Let's go.
Let's go.
So, choosing the perfect venue.
Yeah.
Lots of things to consider, lots of basics to think about as well. So, you know, the main question is, why does it matter about picking the perfect venue? Obviously, you want it to be perfect for you.
Exactly. And it's after every viewing that I have with a couple, I always say that once you've found your venue, everything else will fall into place. So it does set the mood, sets the tone, sets like the colour scheme, things like that. And then after you've got that venue, everything else comes with it.
It's like the starting point, isn't
Exactly.
it? Yeah, and then I think another thing to consider is sort of your dream. You know, you and your partners might have different ideas, or you might have a combined idea, but then what actually is the reality of that?
Yeah, so like the brides that want to be a princess for the day in a castle.
Exactly.
Westonhanger Castle.
They can be.
Yeah,
They can be a princess for the day.
Exactly.
And then again, things to think about are your key factors. So what do you want from a venue? It might be like location, it might be packages, it might be the size of things. There's lots of things to think about there.
Yeah, and I think specifically like think about location. Some people don't mind travelling, and I like when my best friend got married, she got married like 3.5 hours away. Yeah. Everyone had to travel. Like no one lived near there. They just fell in love with this venue. Whereas like for mine, we were quite happy to be local. Yeah. And again, like all the couples that we meet, quite a few of them are very local. It's on their doorstep. Others have travelled from, you know, London, Essex, or even up north. Yeah. We've got some couples that have booked from different countries
Australia,
as well. Yeah.
Dubai, we see that. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it all depends on what your preference is.
Yeah, it might also be another thing with location is they might be too close. People might want to have a venue that no one else has been to before. Yeah. As well, where your venue is, you might want something right in the sticks so that like it is really by itself, or you might want something that's really close to good transport links and everything like that. Yeah. Because you might have people that are travelling far and not staying the night. So yeah, those are things to think about.
Yeah,
You've also got like the size, you know. Your guest list, the size of your wedding, you might want somewhere small and intimate, quite cosy. Might want somewhere big because you've got big numbers and you need the space. Yeah,
I'm thinking of things, even like little details like sound restrictions. If you want that big, large live music band, you need the space for that. You need the venue for that.
Absolutely. And then other things with your guests, you know, you might think about accessibility or, you know, mobility, stuff like that. If you've got quite a lot of elderly people, you want to make sure that they're comfortable, or if you've got a lot of kids, you don't want them disappearing or, you know, feeling like you can't leave them where they are. So
totally get
all
that.
those factors that you have to think about, which are something that you might want to have when going into a viewing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, another thing to think about as well, it might be like the flexibility of the venues that you're looking at. Some people might want them to do the food by themselves, or, you know, it might be with dates, it might be around suppliers.
Yeah, I know when we got married, I wanted somewhere that done all day. So I didn't want to like think about like when my parents got married, it was you had the ceremony here, then you had the food here, then you had the evening here. I didn't want people rushing around trying to find parking 2-3 times in one day. Yeah. I wanted all day ceremony, meal and evening all in one place.
That's the thing, people either like having it all in one place, or they like having a package that pretty much covers everything so they can sit back and relax. Some couples like to just have the venue and then do everything else themselves, whether it's suppliers or food. You might as well have people that want to have that traditional sort of church ceremony, but are looking for something more modern in the sort of dress reception, food. So so seeing if your venues are quite flexible to do that as well is a really good thing to think about.
Yeah. And for those that have got like different cuisines or traditions, having the best of both worlds in one place. Okay, so we've spoken about all the things that people may be thinking before visiting. Here are a few more. So a little prep goes a long way.
It really does.
So when they arrive, one of the first questions we ask is a date in mind. Yes. Now, some people may have like a specific day. I know I had a specific date because I wanted to be close to my nan and granddad's like 60th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
Some people want to have like their anniversary date as their wedding day. Others are more flexible, or could come down to the pricing maybe.
Absolutely, yeah. Some people influence different ways, aren't they? It might be something personal to them. It might be we have quite a few like teachers that come and have a little look, so they obviously need to be in the half terms or holidays or weekends. But even with people who do have a lot of friends who are teachers, or they have a lot of kids coming, they don't want to have the pressures of school or taking them out or anything like that.
Or even seasonal.
Exactly.
So some couples, like most of our couples, get married in the winter.
Yeah.
They've come in mind. They're like, we know what to expect in the winter. Yeah. Whereas with the summer, you have to think maybe the weather won't be on my side. But with winter people, they know what to expect.
Exactly. They might want Christmas as well. We've got gorgeous Christmas decorations here at all our venues. So
all included.
Saves them a little bit of money when it comes to decor and everything like that. And again, budget can influence sort of dates and everything like that. So knowing what you're flexible on around a date is quite good as well. Yeah.
And then we've also touched base about ceremony.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a ceremony at one of our venues, all our venues are licensed with Kent County Council. So
multiple
we're very
places
lucky.
as well. With backup indoor options. So you're fully covered at our venues.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some people, as we said, might want church, but then they might want this for the after party, which is fine. We can do that.
Yeah, and another question obviously we ask all venues, all viewings, is guest numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have an idea. Overall idea, I think, is always good.
Definitely, and it might, help us to show you the best of the rooms, maybe show you a location ceremony-wise which suits those numbers better, or just to let you know this is going to be good, but you might be restricted on how many people you're going to have on the table.
Yeah.
So it just makes sure that we give you as much information as possible that's useful to your numbers. So it is good to have a rough idea. Absolutely.
And what we always like to know is dividing the day, so day guests versus evening guests.
Yes.
Just so that people have more information on how it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, we can sort of lean into that a little bit more, tell you how that changes and how it arranges.
Yeah, and I know we've had weddings before where they've had guests just come for like the ceremony, have a drink, and then leave. Maybe they're older, so that they're not available to stay all day. Yeah. Or I know that we've had someone whose cousin was like not in hospital, was in a hospice, in a hospice, so came and visited just for the ceremony. It was really important for them, and then obviously went back. So anything like that is absolutely fine to let us know along the way as well.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing to think about, which we sort of touch base when we're walking around with you, but it's a good thing for the couples to have before viewing, is maybe like the non-negotiables.
Yeah.
What they are happy to bend on a little bit, what absolutely won't move, and then what you can feel. See what the feels are and, get an idea for it.
Yeah, definitely. So like the live music we said, or maybe you want barbecue food. That's a really popular thing, especially like during like the summer weddings. People would love a more relaxed vibe instead of like the traditional 3-course sit-down meal. They want that barbecue. Yeah. So you always ask if that's available. Pet friendly.
Yeah, that's another thing that comes up a lot.
Yeah, it is. And we are pet friendly. Like we love like the dogs coming, being the ring bearers, things like that. If that's important to you, then definitely let us know as soon as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something to think about. Did you have any sort of like non-negotiables when you were looking at all?
I think it was more, we wanted the ceremony and all day there. We wanted live music, and it all came down to like the numbers. We only viewed like 2 venues.
Did you?
Yeah, I know. Straight away knew which one. But and I think the second one that we saw, it came down to it wasn't big enough for the numbers.
Do you feel like, so the venue that you picked, was it the first one that you saw?
Yeah.
Okay, because we see that a lot at the Orangery, I feel.
A lot of the couples that come and see us at the Orangery, it is like their first venue that they're viewing. Yeah,
which is always fun when it's the first venue, because you get all the excitement there.
Yeah.
When you sort of then viewed your second one, was it just to sort of make sure that the first one was the one for you? Or did you...
A little bit like that. We did really like it. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It just wasn't right for us. And there was things that made sense of why we didn't book there. Whereas where we booked, they ticked all the boxes.
Exactly.
So it was just something to compare.
Exactly. And sometimes people need that. Sometimes people do, and they're like, I know, but I just want to make sure. Yeah. Sometimes people take longer. They might want to view multiple. They might want to do, a little bit further away, maybe even abroad. So there's no real time scale, and you can take as short or as long as you want with your people.
Yeah, I think it is nice to take a bit of time. Yeah. I'm not one to talk though, because we literally got engaged and booked the venue within a month. So
you knew what you wanted.
Some people are like like that. Some people do
Exactly.
come for the first viewing here, go elsewhere, and then they're like, no, the Orangery is the one, or the Gardens is the one. So
So you'll know.
you know.
And then another thing is probably what to bring on a viewing.
Yes.
You know.
Notepad and pen. I had a big notepad and pen. I had specific questions that I needed answering, ticked them all through, and noted down like key points of what we loved at each venue as well.
That's a good idea.
So you could have a bit of a pro and cons for each venue.
Yeah, and when you're
you
there, when you're there in the moment, you might not, think of those things. You go back and you're like, oh god, that was really nice, but I didn't jot that down. So that's a good thing to sort of note down.
Yeah, and I guess like we only viewed 2, but
Yeah.
I know after speaking to some couples that have viewed multiple, if they view in like 3 in a day, sometimes couples view 3 in a day, it can all roll into one.
Yeah.
So definitely take a notepad and pen and write down specifically what you've liked at each venue.
Absolutely.
So then it's something to go back on.
Absolutely.
Camera.
Yeah, you're going to need it. You want to take pictures, maybe even
Videos.
videos. Again, that just helps you make sure that things aren't getting muddled. You know exactly what's at one venue.
Yeah, something to show like your family and friends that you trust.
Exactly.
Look what I viewed here. Show them, see what they think.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I always, if I have a viewing and someone gets a camera, I always make them stand where the ceremony would be.
I like that.
Just so they can get a little feel.
Yeah.
I might take a little cheeky photo for them. Just so they can, this could be how it looks.
Yes. Yeah. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
It's there.
Can you feel it? Exactly.
Absolutely.
Coat and comfy shoes.
Yep. Yeah.
Obviously, weather, we do viewings for all weathers and seasons. So definitely bring a coat and comfy shoes. Majority, like, it's fine for the Orangery, but I'm thinking more like the Gardens and Bilsington. There's a lot of land.
Yes.
You want to be comfortable. You want to see all of it.
Absolutely. And when we do viewings at our venues, we always take you around all of it. We don't want you to feel like you've not seen every area. So we will walk you around. So the comfy shoes are an absolute must.
Must, yeah. And I think it all comes down to the company that you bring as well. Obviously, it's always nice to take your partner, who you're marrying.
Yeah.
But a lot of people bring like their maid of honour, their parents. I've had viewings before where there's like 5 or 6 or 7 of them because it's the trusted group. It's everyone's opinion that they trust on, and most couples it's like their first time getting married, so they're bringing people that have all the questions and experience to help them out.
Yeah. So, you can take us for some, feedback and guidance, but, your family members, your relatives who have done it before, they will also give you some guidance as well.
Yeah. And they're going to give you the truth of what they think, aren't they?
Sometimes unwanted.
Sometimes, but
they'll give it to you.
yeah, if you trust them, 100% bring them along.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And so a little prep goes a long way on what to bring on your viewing. We have sold this from our blog.
Yes.
So for anyone that wants to see our blog, listen to it. You're listening to us. Anyone wants to read our blog, head to our website, the Glow Events website, and you'll find it there.
Again.
Hi, Kate.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah.
You've got this. And so for anyone who hasn't had the pleasure of meeting you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Glow?
Yeah, so my name's Kate and I'm one of the event managers here at the Orangery. I think I've been in the industry for probably about 15 years now.
Oh my god.
So it's been a very long time.
She knows what she's talking about as well.
Started off just waitressing and then obviously just working my way up through. And now I'm an event manager and I couldn't think of anything better to do.
Amazing.
So,
yeah. So obviously you've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
You've probably seen hundreds of weddings, worked them all different angles. What is it about the Orangery that people fall in love with?
I think it's the grounds, definitely. They're just such a winning selling point.
Yeah.
They literally are kept pristine all year round. There's so much space to wander. It's big, but it's also intimate at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's what couples are really drawn towards. They love like the idea of the space, but also they love the idea of the fact that it keeps everyone together at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's what I think all of our couples love most about the venue.
Yeah, and I love all those little moments in the gardens, like little benches by the waterfall, things like that. So people can have a little time on their own, as well as like it being a big old party.
Yeah, there's hidden gems, and I feel like as well when you do viewings, when people arrive, most of the time they're like, oh, what do you expect? Because we are on a business park here.
Yeah.
But then when they come through the gate, I mean, most of the time they're just blown away on it.
Yeah. I always say, whenever they park, that's just where they leave their car.
Yeah.
When they come through that gate, that's it. You know, you're transformed. You're in a different world almost, and then they never have to kind of go back out and see that business park element of it ever again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's definitely a win for it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So when a couple first walks in, what
Yeah.
would you say should be the first thing that they need to like pay attention to instead of just it's pretty? What else should they be thinking?
I really think it's like attention to detail. Like for me personally, when I look at venues, I'm looking at like if the windows are clean and you know if there's rubbish around and just like how tidy and placement of everything.
Yeah.
Like it's like that piece of furniture belongs there. It's like that chair belongs there. It's like that, you know, that element on the bar belongs there. It's always those things that I always pick up on, and I feel like when you walk into a room and it's in the right place,
Makes sense.
it feels like it should be there, and I feel like that attention to detail is probably what couples should focus on.
Absolutely. How many people have you had that have gone into the toilets and looked at toilets?
We talk about it all the time, don't we?
Yeah, we're like, did they go in the toilets? Yes, they went in the toilets.
Probably like 8 out of 10 of my viewings will always go to the toilet. They're like, can I just go check them out? And I'm like, yeah, sure, if you want to.
And you'd be fan in there.
I think I'm one of those. I'd be a nosy one.
What's going on in there?
Yeah,
I get it though. Like I get it. You want to just make sure you know there's enough facilities for everybody, I suppose.
Well, and every space is pristine.
Yeah. Definitely.
And what do you think sort of truly sets a venue apart? So like when you walk in, you're like, no, it's the one. Is there anything that you'd say, like a feeling, a reaction?
I'd say it's definitely a feeling. Yeah. Because, you know, when you look at something, when you look at a venue, when you look at a garden, you can go like, yeah, that's pretty, or yeah, that needs a bit of work. But a feeling is something you can't replace.
Yeah.
I feel like you really, you know, our couples really gravitate towards that. And hopefully like, our team do, you know, present that when they walk through the door.
Well, I think it's something you can't control. You can't control a feeling. It just comes naturally, doesn't it? So, yeah, we said earlier, didn't we, about people's, you can see the look on their face.
Yeah.
Straight away, you can like, they like it.
Yeah.
Straight away.
You can tell. Yeah.
You can tell. So obviously you're also planning your own wedding.
I am, yes.
How did you go about choosing your venue, and did you have any non-negotiables?
So we did have some non-negotiables.
Okay,
so,
tell us.
So we've got a really big drinking family. Not that we're alcoholics at all. But what was really important to us was that we wanted to make sure that the bar was open or that there were some drinks available as people started to arrive into the venue.
Okay.
That was something that we were really set on. We also wanted an outdoor wedding, but also kind of undercover enough because we have chosen to get married in October.
Okay.
So we're not sure what the weather's going to be like. So we wanted an element of outside, but also protection from the elements as well, as much as possible. The other non-negotiable, I think it just had to be like a barn of sorts. A barn, but like a modern barn.
So you knew straight away that was the style
we kind of knew,
Yeah. And you both agreed on that? It was both like a style?
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
But the bar thing was definitely like
number one.
the number one.
The drinks.
Yeah.
A lot of Irish in the family?
No.
Really?
There isn't, but we just come from really big families on both sides. So, you know, we know what they're like when we go to parties and, you know, things like that. So.
Keep them hydrated.
Yeah. And obviously you booked your venue.
Yeah.
But was there a moment in the search where you knew it was the one? Like, was it straight away?
Not straight away, no.
Okay.
Really?
The venue that we booked, we didn't see until, I think it was like probably like the second to last venue that we saw.
Okay.
We kept referring back to that venue. We kept going, oh, nothing's quite as good as this one, and you know, this one has that, and that one has this. And that's kind of like when we thought, actually, are we just making excuses or trying to make up for what the other venues don't have that this one does?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how we figured out that venue was
so you use that venue as like the point of focus for
yeah,
every other venue.
Yeah, like we were comparing it a lot.
Yeah.
So that's how we knew.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of
It's a good
sealed the deal for us.
Yeah. How many venues did you end up like?
We ended up
viewing
seeing
total?
5 in the end.
Okay, so nice.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
mean,
like too many, like
no.
overwhelming. And
No, not at all. Where we're in the industry, both me and my partner, we're familiar with a lot of venues. We know a lot of venues. So for us, it was just kind of like going there and seeing it. Like we said a little bit earlier, it's the feeling you want to get.
Yeah.
Like we know what they look like, we know that they look good, but you know, is it suitable for our needs? Do we feel it? And that's why we went to go and see just like 5. So
okay, so from getting engaged, how long was it then you booked your venue? So you got engaged, how long did it take to
probably about 9 months, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
she's 9 months.
She's 9
I was 1 month. I was very quick. Yeah. Very.
That's cute.
Saw 2.
She knows.
Compared a little bit. No, that one's the one. Done.
No, I think it was about 9 months.
Yeah, nice.
We just kind of sat on it for a little bit and enjoyed our engagement before kind of going, okay, now let's go.
And did you look sort of like quite locally, or did you venture out a little bit at all?
The furthest we looked at was like in Essex, but definitely more local.
Yeah.
You know, all of our families this way, so we wanted to keep it as local as we could.
Yeah, and you sort of touched on it a little bit, but obviously working in the industry, both you and your partner, did it make it harder or did it make it easier when it came to venues?
I don't want to sound like a big head, but it made it a lot easier.
You knew what you wanted.
Yeah, like we always obviously know we need florists, we need photographer, we need, you know, dress, suits. We know the timeline of when to do all of those things, so it does make it a lot easier, and I can see how it is harder for couples that don't have like that back experience. But I tell you what, I did find actually a little bit surprising was the challenges when it comes to like invitations and seating plan.
Okay.
Because that's what I didn't expect in the planning to be hard. I thought it was going to be easy, like
because you've not had to think about it before.
Because I've not had to think about it before. You know, Callum wanted to invite, you know, cousins and their partners, and then it was kind of like you can't invite one cousin without the other cousin, and the same on my side of the family. Like I wanted to invite this cousin, but can I invite that cousin without their brother or sister? You know, and that's what I find quite hard to navigate most.
Unexpected as well.
From wedding planning, yeah, definitely.
So then you understood how couples are doing.
Yeah.
This is what they're thinking. I get it now.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh. When you was looking at venues, did you guys say that you worked in the wedding industry? Because I know there's both of you, whereas when I viewed with Craig, he was like, I'm going to tell them. I was like, don't, because I want them to just be like, I'm any other bride. I want to just be any other bride.
Yeah.
You don't know I work in the industry.
So I was keen not to say nothing. And then, you know, me and Callum were like, yeah, that's fine, we won't say nothing. I was really keen to not say anything all throughout.
Yeah.
And then, literally, as soon as we were about to put the date on, he was like, oh yeah, well, we work in a venue, you know, in Kent. And I was like, no, why did you say that? Yeah. But, yeah, it is what it is.
And it hasn't changed anything?
I hope not.
No.
I haven't noticed if it
Okay.
has, so
Good.
that's always a good sign.
No.
Yeah.
And obviously you are in the industry, so what is it that you love about working someone's wedding, sort of from the venue side?
Yeah.
What I love the most is walking the bride to the point where she walks down the aisle.
Yeah.
I really like that moment the best.
Yeah.
Just, you know, she's thinking about the future, she's thinking about walking down the aisle, she's thinking about whoever's holding her arm, and I really love that moment. And then when all the bridesmaids walk down, you are just there with the bride and whoever has given her away, if she's having anyone. And just kind of have that moment, you're just like, you know, you look amazing, having a fab time.
Hype her up.
You're that last like cheerleader bit, aren't you?
Yeah. That's the bit I really like. She built a bit of like a connection that they don't really forget at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, you look amazing.
I love that, and I used to always love it seeing their partner's face.
Yeah.
So everyone would be standing, I used to be like, I want to see the partner's face when they see them walking down.
Yeah. We don't see that.
Are they crying?
Yeah.
You need someone on the other side.
I know.
Just be like,
Yeah.
what's this really
Yeah. I'd love to see that though.
Yeah. I mean, from the sort of weddings that I've shadowed, I love it when you're in here and you get like the reveal, you know, the dad or the mum or the parent reveal. Oh, I'm always emotional at that moment.
Yeah,
I'm literally tearing up for them.
Yeah.
See them outside, like some of them get all nervous when you walk past. How you feel? And he's like, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And lastly, what are you looking forward to most for your wedding and you finally being the bride?
Oh goodness. I'm excited about everyone I love in my family being together.
Yeah.
You know, you only ever really see that on rare occasions, like parties, like birthdays, weddings, that sort of thing. So I'm really excited to all be like my people. And also what I'm really loving and what I'm really looking forward to is walking down the aisle with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing my little boy at the front.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
She's gonna cry. There'll be tears.
Yeah, I'm 100% cry. Yeah.
Oh,
that's so lovely.
But like I've visualised that in my mind for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like just me arm in arm with my dad, and then walking down the aisle, seeing Callum at the end and Zach. Yeah. So
Trust me, it'll be so even better on the day.
yeah,
it will.
That's the bit I'm really looking forward to.
We're excited for you.
Okay, so Kate, we're going to go into a little bit of a game now.
Okay.
We've sort of some real life scenarios that you might encounter. Okay, we have got some cards here. So, the game is called for better or for worst, the venue test. Okay, so you're going to need to answer with deal breaker, red flag, or can do. Okay. We've got some cards for you. So this is a can do.
Yeah.
Green tick.
Green tick. This is a red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag. And then this is a deal breaker.
Okay,
So you're going to answer it honestly. Okay. Perfect. So, am I doing the first one? Yeah. Okay, so first question. Stunning venue, but over budget by 4K. It's your dream space, but it pushes you £4,000 over your budget. What do you think?
If it's a dream venue,
Doable.
doable.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I feel like for a dream venue, you know, anything over like 5k more than your budget, I think is going to be probably something you're not able to achieve. But under 5k, I think
Okay, you can
maybe
do it.
you could reach, you can stretch, you know, have a few days where you're eating beans on toast for dinner.
Got some cost.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one I've got is that the venue must end by 11 p.m. It's a great space, good price, but no flexibility.
I'd probably give that.
A red
flag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Work with it?
I think I could work with it. Yeah.
Okay.
A wedding day is a long day,
Yep.
so I'd probably say I could work with that.
Okay.
Bring the ceremony.
Yeah, bring the ceremony forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Do 1 o'clock ceremony. Have even guests arrive a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I think we could work with that.
Keep it in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Bad reviews about the staff. So online reviews mention rudeness and unhelpful staff at an event. What do you think?
I think that's an immediate
Deal
deal
breaker.
breaker.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why's that?
absolutely. I think the team on the day, even whoever's been looking after your wedding coordinator wise, I think the team on the day is a very big influence on how the rest of the day runs. I do think a lot of couples do underestimate what the team do on the day for them.
Yeah.
To them, it might just be like, you know, serving drinks or serving food, but actually they're doing a lot more than that. They're keeping your guests and your friends and family happy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe staff is something to think about.
Yeah.
You know, that you might not usually.
Yeah.
Well, they represent the venue, don't they?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Perfect. Love that.
So I thought it's a beautiful venue, but requires hiring all vendors from their list. So you can use their list. You can't bring your own, like DJ, florist, photographer. It has to be who they say. No,
Another
no
deal
go.
breaker.
Another deal breaker.
Big X.
Yeah, because working in the industry, we make a lot of friends with a lot of our suppliers, and I think if they can't be there on your special day, then you know it's almost like what's the point? Like,
Yeah.
you want someone you trust, you want someone you know, and if you're only using a supplier's recommended list, like you might not be as familiar with their work, you might not, you know, trust them, so that won't then come through for the day. So I think for me,
especially with a photographer, because if you've looked at like their page and you're not happy with their photos, but you find another one, you're like, I want my photos to look like that, and you can't have them.
Yeah, that's
The photos, they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's quite a personal thing with suppliers. So.
you look back at photos forever, so you want it to be right.
Yeah, absolutely. And then your venue requires you to clean up. So you or your guests are responsible for removing rubbish decor before midnight.
That's also going to be
Another deal breaker.
another deal breaker.
You don't want to clean.
I don't do it at the end of the night.
Got your dress?
Thank you. Yeah,
No.
You
So
don't want
go
that to be
for
the last memory.
no.
Oh,
You want to go out on a high. You don't want to be like,
Yeah.
oh, at the end of my wedding day, I was, you know, cleaning rubbish
With them in
and
bags.
Everyone grab a bin bag, let's do it. No.
like that gives me, you know, town hall party vibes, like kids party vibes. That's not a wedding.
Yeah.
No.
No, perfect. I think we agree.
I get
absolutely
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last one is, it's the only date they have left this year. So you'd have to move your original timeline or date that you had in mind up or push it back. But it's the only available date at the venue that you want to book.
Oh, she's thinking.
Oh, this one's
She's
got
thinking.
her. This one has
What's
got
she
her.
gonna
Red flag. Okay.
Yeah, I think red flag. I don't know, if it's, again, a dream venue, you're going to have to be flexible in some element, in some way.
Yeah.
Because, not everything is perfect in life. So, I think,
Yeah, not what you wanted, but it can be done.
Yeah.
Be flexible.
Yeah.
And if it may even work in your favour. It might save a bit of...
And I
bit of money
always,
on the way.
I always say as well, I say this to all of the couples here, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, you still have the same incredible wedding day, whether it's a Monday or whether it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
So I think with that knowledge,
Yeah, perfect. I'll say exactly what I say about the service.
Yeah.
Our service is the same on a Saturday and a Monday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great advice and great tips.
thanks for playing. So every episode we like to share a real story. It may be from personal experience or like a real wedding here. So today it's called Finding Your Forever Venue. And we'd love you to share a real story of when you've shown a couple around and you can just tell that they found the one here.
Yeah.
Anything stick out?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does, yeah. I've got,
Go on
there's
then.
a couple, but there's one that is fairly recent, so it's quite fresh in my mind.
Okay.
I took them around the venue. It was a bit of a dreary day. We both had big coats on, umbrellas at the ready.
Yeah.
And I thought, I wasn't really hopeful in the beginning because I thought, when it's a rainy day, everyone's just not in a very good mood. But they walked into the venue and they just couldn't stop looking around. They weren't really looking at me. And I thought, okay, this is how it's going to go. Let's let them look and then I can talk, business after. So we were just having a little wander around, just showing them everything, answering their questions. And then when we walked outside, we walked over the Waterfall Bridge, outside the gazebo, and she just started crying her eyes out.
Oh,
Tears are always, sorry to say to everyone, but tears are always good for us at venue. We want to see you cry at the ceremonies.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I was a bit shocked because I didn't have that initial kind of
thought that they would do that.
Yeah,
Didn't see it coming
I
at
didn't
all.
think that they would be criers. And they were. And it was such a lovely moment. And then they were hugging each other and they were really looking around. And
They were in that moment.
Yeah, they were in the moment. They could see themselves getting married there, and I think that's what brought those tears. And
And you're job done here.
Yeah.
I'll leave. I'll let you take time.
Sit now.
Beautiful.
Early day. Yeah.
Cool. So tears mean we're done.
Yeah. That's the most recent one for sure.
I love that. What a beautiful story.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast with us, Kate.
Yeah,
it's been an absolute pleasure, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been fun. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
You come again?
So the space within a venue is also really important. It needs to match everything that you want.
Yeah.
With what we've got at Glow, like we've mentioned a little bit, we've got multiple different ceremony areas.
Yes.
So I think we always try and have about 2 outside.
Yeah.
And then 1 inside option.
Yeah.
So you've got the opportunity to sort of pick and choose.
Yeah, and it's always nice. I love doing viewings, especially we're here at the Orangery today, so I always keep thinking about the Orangery because we're here. And when we do a viewing here, I love getting a bit of an idea from the couple, what ceremony did you fall in love with?
Yeah.
It's always nice to then send you photos afterwards and just get a bit of an idea of what they are loving straight away.
Yeah.
And you can, 9 times out of 10, you can tell by their face.
Yeah, absolutely. Here at the Orangery, so we've got the garden room, which is very much in line with the Orangery, sort of design-wise. We've got the leper, which is quite the rustic option. So people who do want a bit of that rustic blended with classic, they can get that here.
They get the best of both worlds.
Exactly. And then you've also got the gazebo, which is sort of your traditional Kentish wedding, I always say to them.
Classic and traditional outside, isn't it?
Yeah. So some of the venues that we've got can even have different styles within the venue. So you don't have to compromise.
No.
Cool. You've also got maybe the layout of the room and what you'd want to do with it. Obviously, when you come to us, we try and keep it sort of bare, or if we have got a wedding for you, you can sort of see what someone's doing with the space.
Yeah, so you
Give
can always open
ideas.
the mind up, can't it, to see it. dressed.
Absolutely, and at the Orangery we can do rounds, at the gardens we can do long wooden tables. So again, sort of that style, you might want the long tables, have it a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more informal. Gardens is great for that. If you want the traditional round tables, Western hanger and the Orangery are really good for them. So you can just space in for that.
Well, the way I guess that we've set it up at each venue is like gardens, for instance, with the long tables. It makes sense with regards to how many guests can fit into that teepee, but also the feel of the venue. It is very rustic. So we've got those large, long wooden tables.
Yeah, it matches.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. But let's say that someone did want long tables somewhere like here at the Orangery, more than happy for you to do that, but they will have to outsource up the supplier, they'll have to deliver them, pick them up. So it's just a conversation to have with us at Glow.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing is maybe using the space. So we do see the outdoor areas used quite well as well, don't we? Like garden games.
Yeah,
is really popular. We see that a lot, especially at the gardens.
Yes.
Garden games.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've also got we've mentioned it before, the like trails around the acres on the grounds.
Yeah.
You know, bingos, hunts, anything like that. Encourage your guests to have a little walk around.
Yeah, something different.
Absolutely, using the space to the potential.
Utilise the space.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've seen as well here at the Orangery, because we've got the garden room, which is used for the indoor ceremony option, but I like seeing it used differently in the evening. So usually we just put some tables and chairs in there for people to get away if they need a moment, you know, not so into the party. But we've seen it used for photo booths, which I think is really good. If people want like a DJ and a band, they might have one in one room, one in the other, so guests can sort of split up and choose their music tastes. If you've got a lot of children, that also works well to have it as sort of like a child area.
Love that, utilising. Something different, thinking about like international ceremonies.
Yeah.
So they want to have like the traditional like blessing here. They've had that set up in the garden room, like for example, like a Nika ceremony, and then the civil ceremony they then had outside. So that they're always lovely to see, like the different colours, traditional for them. It is beautiful to see in all of our spaces.
Yeah, so that's what we've seen here. We want to see more.
Definitely. Okay, so top questions to ask every venue. So this is advising what you can ask all of your viewings. So number one, can we hold both ceremony and reception? So obviously we've mentioned this already, but yes, we can. At Glow, we can.
We can, or we don't have to.
No.
Whatever you want to do.
Completely up to you.
Payment plans and cancellation is another thing to ask your venue.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got a couple of different payment plans here at Glow. We've got like monthly payments or we've got stage payments.
Yeah.
And we are quite flexible with payments. We just need to obviously know what you want to do.
Yeah, completely up to you. And you know, some people get bonuses during the year. So if you ever come into a bit of money and you think, let's just pay a big chunk off the wedding, that's absolutely fine. Just contact us and we can sort that out for you as well. Yeah,
it is also good to maybe know cancellations or postponements as well. We've seen it before when couples maybe just need a little bit more time to save, or something's come up, like a baby or something like that,
new
exciting. Yeah, and they just need a little bit more time before the wedding. So know what the policies around cancellations or postponing are as well.
Yeah. And what's included in the package. So we're lucky, we've got a number of packages here. So we've got the classic package, Twilight, and also at some of our venues we can do dry hire.
Yeah, and also we would run through on the viewing what's included in all of them, and whilst we're in the room we'll explain that as well. But afterwards, when we send you quotes or emails, or once we get your terms and conditions, everything that's included
all going to be on there.
Will be listed. Absolutely. Accommodation is another good one.
Yeah.
Does the venue have accommodation? So at our sites, we don't have any on-site accommodation currently, but we will always provide you with a recommended list of local accommodation. Some nearby hotels we might potentially even have discount codes with. So we try and tailor for people who are looking for accommodation.
Definitely. Are there any restrictions on suppliers that can be used? That's always a popular question as well, because some people, even before finding the venue, know, I definitely want this band. So they've been to their cousin's wedding, they want the same band, something like that.
Absolutely.
Ours, we've got a recommended suppliers list. They're only recommendations. I think the only things at Glow is catering has to be from us, with food, with drinks, fireworks we can do just here at the Orangery, so that's one of our approved suppliers. Anyone else?
And then the garden has a sound limit as well.
Yeah.
But we work very well with that, and it's never really a problem for any of our couples that we see.
No. I think just the only other thing is DJ. So dance floors all have to be hired from ourselves, but anything else you're more than welcome to bring along.
Exactly. And then parking and transport as well is another one. So all of our venues, we have car parking.
Yeah.
I think it's usually between sort of like 60, 70 cars, but families are going to come, people are going to double up, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. And then transport as well. We always have local taxi lists, usually a barcode on the bar, so if anyone's pre-booked or if anyone thinks, I'm going to have a drink, they can always get them booked in on the night as well.
Yeah, also I always advise like maybe calling them, let's say you have a lot of family travelling over and you know exactly where they're staying, contact those recommended taxi services because they might be able to do like minibus trips, like actually pick them up, drop them off, things like that. So
we've had people sort of bring the big red buses here.
Yes, I love that. Or even the white ones, like the wedding buses.
Yeah, so a transport, it can always be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you found the venue, obviously you want to book it in, don't you? So these are some things that you're going to probably go through when finalising that sort of confirming your wedding.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to be looking at quotes. So you're going to want to think about your budget. You're going to want to think about your vision. You know, does that match? Are you happy with it? Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less. So those are things to think about.
I guess that kind of comes into place when we talk about flexibility earlier on with dates.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, a Saturday in August is going to be the most expensive.
Of course it is.
But maybe doing like a Thursday's the new Friday.
Exactly.
You don't know.
And then they're getting booked up.
Thursday's the new Friday. People love taking 2 days off and having a long weekend. So if you're flexible, then that may also help with your budget.
Yeah, and as well, it's not going to do any harm to get a couple of different quotes. You know, if you've got a couple of different dates, a couple of different months, seasons, and you know, see what the options are to see what you're happy with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're probably also going to have a contract that you're probably going to sign.
Yes.
So read through your contract, make sure you're happy with anything. If you've got any questions, that's the time to ask. Don't ask after you've signed.
No, definitely pop it in an email as well. I'm absolutely fine when they come in an email and they're saying this point,
Yeah.
then we can read through it.
Yeah.
On the phone, I'm like, yeah, please. So that's absolutely fine. Always give us an email if you've got questions about those T's and C's.
Also, they've got it in writing to refer back to.
Exactly.
For sure. Don't rush, you know, take as much time as you need. You know, you might want to read through the terms and conditions more. You might want to think about prices some more. You know, don't feel pressured to rush into that. So those are things to think about when it comes to finalising and confirming your wedding.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, so let's wrap up this episode with some takeaways from it. So your venue has an impact. The venue you pick is going to influence your style, your mood, and your guest experience. Think about the deal breakers. Come together as a couple and discuss your absolute non-negotiables. Get through and booked in. So think about your questions that you want and really enjoy having a little look around and trust your gut, you will find the one. When it's the one, you'll feel it and you will know. There you go.
Well, and then I've got one last glow. Okay, so every episode we do one last glow where we share a word or phrase beginning with the letters G, L, O, and W.
Yeah.
And today we're sharing why our venues are perfect for you. Because why not?
Why not?
While we're here, we might as well. So G for gardens in Yaldin. So an enchanting country garden surrounded by flowers and fairy lights and a magical teepee under the stars.
Beautiful.
L, I think you're going to like what I've done here.
Okay.
L is launching Bilsington Priory.
Let's see what you did there.
So historic and romantic, full of character and charm, breathtaking views over Romney Marsh, which are the perfect backdrop
They're stunning.
for your photos.
Yeah.
Absolutely breathtaking. O, the Orangery, Maidstone, where we're here. A multi-award winning Kent venue, breathtaking landscape gardens, timeless interior with natural waterfalls and rivers.
Yes.
The waterfall always gets mentioned, doesn't it?
Always gets mentioned. Yeah, I've had people come here specifically because we have a waterfall.
Because I have a waterfall.
Yeah.
And then W, Western Hanger Castle, of course. So fairy tale medieval castle ruins and manor house, laced with history, draped marquee, bursting with charm.
Yes, it's got so many hidden details in that venue, doesn't it?
If the walls could talk, the stories I'd love to hear.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for today's episode. So we hope you have a clearer sense of what really matters when it comes to choosing your wedding venue.
We hope you do join us again. Remember to like, share and follow, and you can find us wherever you find your podcasts.
Bye.
Thank you, bye. Game.
Is that good?
Very good.
Perfect.